Hi, and welcome to the Holly Tse Podcast, a show about expressing your brilliance with ease and flow. I'll show you how to take the woo-woo out of the clouds and apply it to real life for effortless action. This show is for world changers and future world changers, so if you know there's more to life and you're wondering what's next, this is your show. Hi, I'm Holly Tse, your host. I'm a speaker, author, dragon spirit guide, and a highly productive person who is highly productive without actually trying to be highly productive. I get a lot done through effortless action by seemingly doing nothing. So I mention that because today's episode is about productivity. How would you like to get a whole bunch of stuff done easily and effortlessly? So we're going to look at productivity from a quote-unquote woo-woo perspective because we're going to talk about stillness. And what is stillness and how can you use stillness to be uber productive? Yes, stillness is nothingness, and by doing nothing, you can actually get a lot done. So how does that work? This isn't about taking a break, resting, and recharging so that you have lots more energy to get back to whatever you're doing. This is about being productive by being like an owl where it sits there, it's very still, and then once it sees its target, it swoops down and snatches up a mouse. So you're probably not interested in catching rodents, but you might be interested in how do you leverage your time and your energy, because this show is about taking the woo-woo, so the woo-woo here is stillness, and applying it to real life, which in this case it's about taking stillness and being super productive with it. So getting a lot of stuff done without much effort, and that would qualify as ease and flow. And that's how you express your brilliance with ease and flow. You swoop down like the owl with laser focus, and the rest of the time you can chill out, relax, and have fun. So the way that this works is that stillness gives you insight and clarity to know when to swoop down. Where I live, there are a lot of crows, and there are also quite a number of hawks. And interestingly, one time I observed a couple of crows chasing a hawk. And I wondered, why wouldn't the hawk attack the crow? Why wouldn't it fight back? And my husband did some research, and he found that apparently, for most of the time, the hawks will ignore the crows because attacking the crows is a waste of their energy and effort. And the only time that they will attack the crows is when they're nesting and protecting their young. So the crows actually learned to not bother or harass the hawks when it's nesting season. The hawks know when to conserve their energy. And that is the gift that stillness can give you, because when you have these moments of stillness and you recognize them, you have this clarity and insight, and you know when to take action and when not to take action. And that's how you become super productive in your day-to-day life. It's because you don't waste your energy on things that don't matter, and you focus your energy on the things that will have the biggest impact. And this is especially applicable when it comes to expressing your brilliance, because a lot of the time your mind gets in the way and it thinks things over and mulls them back and forth, and it spends a lot of time just trying to figure things out, a lot of time and energy trying to come up with the plan ahead of time, going through pros and cons and different scenarios, trying different things, and quite frankly, that's a whole waste of effort. But if you were dialed in to your dragon spirit, that voice within that knows the answers to your questions, that craves adventure and excitement, that is the voice of your highest guidance and your heart and soul, when you tune into that voice, you know what to pay attention to. So, how do you get to this mythical state of stillness? Is it something that you have to meditate for 10 days to achieve? No, because that would not be very practical. What if you could get to stillness in just seconds? What if I told you you are already living in stillness, but you're just not realizing it? Not quite sure? Maybe a little skeptical? Well, I'm going to share with you a dragon spirit meditation on stillness. I recorded this as part of one of my online programs, and part of leveraging your time to express your brilliance is to let go of perfection. I could do 10 podcasts about that, about perfection and imperfection, but let's just say that I'm going to share this meditation that I've recorded in the past. It's not perfect. The sound quality is going to be different because I had a different setup to record that meditation. But I'm here to be an example for you to see that being perfect isn't necessary. Because if I was trying to be perfect, I would record a totally new dragon spirit meditation on stillness, and then I would lose the essence of the original recording. And that's what's more important than having the perfect sound quality of this recording matching that recording. And I'll talk about perfection more in the future. But right now, we're focused on stillness. So take a listen to this meditation. And just a reminder that dragon spirit, it's not like this woo-woo spirit outside of yourself. It's not an angel or fairy or light being. Dragon spirit is inside you. It is your connection to the universe, to God, to source energy, to whatever term you want to use, but that greater connection where we're all connected, like interwoven like a tapestry. All of these different souls are connected. It's your soul connection. And when you're tuned into the dragon spirit space, that's where you're most open to hearing that connection to your soul. And without any further ado, I'll just say enjoy the meditation. Okay, so just a reminder, we enter the dragon spirit space by placing your hand on your heart, bringing your awareness to the heart, and then taking 3 breaths where you breathe in through your nose and you breathe out through your mouth. So go ahead now. You can sit or stand, whatever feels comfortable for you, and place your hand on your heart. And then just be still for a moment. Let's not think about the dragon breaths yet. Just awareness to your heart and quieting your mind. And here's a description. So, when you get on a plane and there's turbulence, or maybe you're riding a bus and it's kind of shaking. So there's this movement, but in between the shakes or the bounces on the airplane, there's this moment of stillness. So try to find that moment as you're tuning into your heart. It's like that moment between thoughts, moment between breaths. And the more you focus on that, guess what? You're meditating. So sometimes people make meditation more complicated than it needs to be, in my personal opinion. Meditation is about reaching that moment of stillness. So if you can find that stillness and you focus more on that, then you're able to expand how long you can be focused on the stillness. So it's kind of a little bit circular that way. But you'll find you can, it sounds a bit like an oxymoron, but that you can hear the stillness, you can feel the stillness. So even though it's like nothing, you're actually feeling the nothing more. Okay, let's try that one more time. And pay attention then to the stillness as we do these 3 dragon breaths. Breathe in through your nose. And breathe out through your mouth. So if you feel like letting out a sound, go ahead and do so. And again, breathe in through your nose. all the way in. And notice when you reach the maximum breath you can take, go ahead, breathe out. There's a moment of stillness. When you reach the maximum exhale, there's a moment of stillness. Breathe in through your nose. And breathe out. And again, paying attention to the stillness. If you have a thought, notice the thought. And then when the thought ends, notice there's a split second of stillness before you think of another thought. Here, I'll help you through this. Chocolate chip cookies. Tasty chocolate chip cookies. The smell of pine trees. The sound of rain pattering on a roof. The feeling of a kitten's fur. The soft little prickliness of kitten's nails. Raising your arm up in the air right now. Notice as you're shifting gears, going from one to the other to the other, it's like it stops your mind from being on that track. And for a moment, you have to switch tracks. And in that switching, that little moment of switching, there is stillness. Breathe in through your nose. And breathe out. And I want you, as we're breathing, I'll walk you through a few breaths, that you pay attention. You try to breathe in as deeply as you can until you can't breathe in anymore. And then gently release that breath until you can't release any more air out. And notice the pauses and the gaps in between. So go ahead and I'll walk you through it, but go at whatever pace and whatever breath that feels right for you. So breathing in. Maybe hold the breath for a second, then breathe out. Pause for a second before you breathe in again. And notice that there's stillness. And when you exhale all the air from your lungs, so let's do this. Breathe in, breathe out. And wait a second, and then breathe in. It's like it takes your mind off things for a second because you're so focused on, okay, I gotta pause. I really need a breath. I really, really need a breath. Then you let the air in and there's this relief. And all you feel is the breath in your chest and you go, whew. But in there is the moment of stillness. I'll walk you through it again, but we won't breathe this time. We'll think about other things. That thing you need to do for work. A thing you have to pick up from the store. The thing you read on the news or you saw on the news. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out. Notice how, as you were thinking of these things that you had to do, the things that you're not, things in the world, the bad news in the world, how the energy was not flowing as smoothly. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out. This awareness has grown because you're focusing on stillness. And it might be something you would have ignored before. And notice how, though, when you took a deep breath in and you released it, everything started flowing again. So pay attention to that too. As you become more aware of stillness, you'll be more aware of, again, a bit of an oxymoron, of stifling movement. So it's different than stillness. Stillness, there's flow. Stifling movement is not quite the same. There's no flow there. And you notice that as we walk through those 3 examples of things to think of. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out. And with the breath is the relaxation, the release, the allowing of the energy to flow. So whenever you become more aware of what is stifling the movement, So different than stillness. But when you become more aware of that, then all you need to do is take a deep breath, release it, and to remember that feeling of stillness, that sense of calm and peace, of potentiality. So potential for all the good in the world to come to the surface. Breathing in. Stillness, breathing out. Stillness at the end. Then, not only are you allowing things to flow, you're tuning into that power within yourself, the power of stillness. And just easy breathing. So whatever is perceived as turbulent, within those shakes, those bounces, is stillness. And watch for it. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out. Within yourself is the ability to observe the stillness within yourself. And you are a microcosm for the world. What goes on inside is what goes on outside. So find your stillness, and you've already done that. Breathing in. Breathing out. You are very powerful in your stillness. So let's come out of this dragon spirit space, but you're starting to realize more and more that you never actually leave the dragon spirit space. You're there, and you're always there in the stillness. But for the sake of ending this mini meditation, we'll just do 3 dragon breaths. Hand on your heart, awareness to the stillness. See, when you're calm, your heart is still beating, but there is a sense of stillness. So breathe in through your nose. Breathe out through your mouth. In through your nose. And out through your mouth. In through your nose. And out through your mouth. Okay, take one more breath. Take a deep breath in. Hold it for a moment. And release it. Did you notice the stillness? The more you become aware of the stillness, it's like you're practicing at noticing stillness, then you realize that you don't need to set aside hours to meditate to reach the state. It's always there for you. And the more you're aware of it, the more you'll have this calmness and serenity that will allow you to hear your inner voice. And when you hear your inner voice, then you'll know whether to take action. And you'll know when to take action. And this is like the biggest shortcut to expressing your brilliance. And it's a great shortcut for anything that comes your way during the day, so that you are in the flow. And that brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you for listening to the Holly Tse podcast. For more information about this podcast, you can visit my website at hollytse.com, HOLLYTSE.com. Thanking you for listening to the Holly Tse podcast. Signing off for now until we connect again. Bye.